Hey, what's good, YouTube? It's your man Ronan. Just came back for another workout and a little winded, but it's time for me to bring it home. So I originally did a video of this, but thankfully it didn't come through, and because I really want to get some stuff out of my mind. So you already know the deal. Go ahead, scan that. Use the code Ronan10, and that would be your ticket to the A Game lifestyle. Helps with your vitality, strength, libido, and focus. Speaking of focus, that brings me to the heart of this topic today. And it was sparked by a response made by my brother, BK Born Saeed. And with all due respect, the message or response was a little bit convoluted. So I tried to piece it together and understand what you were saying. We'll probably have to talk about it further. There's no shame on you, man. However, what the old manosphere, black manosphere, consisted of were a lot of socially inept, tender-dicked, linear-focused individuals who would be entranced by what the passport bros were saying. But once they get down there, or the thought of it really starts getting fleshed out, you realize that these individuals will do any and everything. They will even compromise their morals, themselves, their resources, and everything for access to that Venus thigh trap. And we need to understand that mainly black men have provided a market funded by not only our social ineptitude, but our willingness to compromise our morals and standards. You see, granted, in my time in the Marine Corps, and fellow veterans can attest to on their own, that once you get over there, it's far too easy to fall in love with the allure of seeing new women, seeing new environments. And the main purpose of you going overseas, not only to do your duty as far as our float with the patrol, it is to learn about the world and yourself. See, when I came back from overseas, having been stationed in Cuba for a year, went to Camp Pendleton before doing the float, Westpac, I learned a lot about the world and understood not only was the world bigger than I imagined, but my ideas and my movements had to match that. That's why I had to get rid of a lot of the deadbeat friends, the dumb Donalds and all the goofies who stood under the street light talking about nothing. But the reason why I stress this mainly to the veterans is because, and the brothers, is when you go over anywhere in this world, both foreign and domestic, if you carry yourself in a certain manner, you're going to be looked at as a mark, as a lick. And some individuals are proud of that. You got, flea market gigolos. You got individuals who will prostitute themselves, for the lowest bidder. This is why I tell guys to actually value your time and basically value your meat minutes or dick minutes. See, when I tell guys to fuck the shit out of their purpose, you're supposed to be energized by the idea of learning new stuff, learning new languages, learning new skills, learning new abilities you acquire along the way to become better than you were, who you were last month, last year, last decade. But when you got the passport bros who were talking about things about learning about the natives and the culture, learning the language, so you are no longer socially inept on a scale where you put yourself in danger. And you got a lot of internet goofies. And some fellow veterans that I served with at the time, all they were driven by was that feral urge to smash. Now, granted, Yeah, it's a natural thing for guys. You want to get your meat wet. I get that. There's no shame in that because, hey, I like an honest hoe. Usually a domesticated one, but an honest one. However, you get too many of these goofies who will let everything fly out the window and ignore the fact that we're not talking about getting social proof as far as STD testing, taking people out if you're dealing with them on a domestic scale or international, but mainly domestic. If you're taking them out to the clinic and both of you show paperwork, that way you know you can build confidentiality, trust, and establish a standard between you two. But we don't talk about that. In the old black manosphere, there was a mandate to where you eat ass first and ask questions much later. You have individuals who get pissed off and say, all these chicks are strags. Well, it takes a strag to create a strag. And many times over, yeah, you'll say, these hoes ain't nothing, but let a chick pop up on the panel. Let you slide in a chick's DM. Let these chicks say hi or even be extra friendly to you and see what happens. A lot of these stone cold internet warriors melt like cookie dough in the oven. We've seen it time and time again. You got dumbasses in there who created a new wave called Stove Coin. Or you'll get goofies out there who will compromise something stable like the family they do have over some piece of internet pussy on the hope of it. And this is what we're getting away from. The reason why I support and endorse the 10 life values is because if you take care of the internal 5 and you work on the external 5, you can ward off the same strags that a lot of you goofies complain about in these internet death panels, where you're talking about the same very thing, but let them show up. Let them show some hyena dander and back feet, and all that internet bravado melts away. Unfortunately, both some cool and some not have exposed themselves all too easily, much to our detriment. That goes into our appearance value. Now, granted, we don't talk about the things that actually happen out there. Now, there was a situation in domestic form here where I've seen, when you get involved with alcohol, and that's too easy, especially when you go overseas and you start drinking and having fun, whatever, that's where, if you don't have people who are credible around you, you can be in a very precarious situation. It happened here when we celebrated the creation of a business, clothing business. This happened back in 2006-07. And we had some alcohol to where it was a whole bunch of hard spirits and fruit. Called it poodle punch. And I didn't eat anything, which was on my fault. And a guy who was supposed to be, deemed as my brother, so in a sense, he allowed, the situation to happen to where when I knew I was drinking, he wasn't looking out for me. So I said I need to lay down, and I told his sister I wasn't feeling her like that. However, she took it upon herself to give me oral sex and burn me with chlamydia. And I've never had an STD before then. So not only was it outright embarrassing, but it was outright disturbing, which goes into your health value. And it did mess with my spirit and mental. But again, in discovering this and me being foreign to this situation, I was involved in another situation where it wasn't as great, but she ended up getting infected too. So the thing is, what I'm telling brothers is, number one, brotherhood is a necessity. We hold each other accountable to a standard. We're only as strong as our weakest link. And after getting burnt by his sister, I went and told him after getting treated. And his response was, "What'd I get burnt with?" And I told him what it was. And so I'd have had that 3 times. So the fact that you have individuals who could care less about your health, care less about your appearance value, and everything pertaining to you lets you know you got to be mindful of who you deal with. But mainly, you got to check yourselves. So, in this space, in the new Black Manosphere, we're going to be having these needed discussions about how to proceed in this arena, which often we get burnt by, no pun intended, in the arena of sex. Most of us find out we're not only sexually inept, but sexually illiterate. See, all a lot of guys do is wonder about, hey, I can do this thing. Now, if it's your business, if you want to choose to eat a deviled egg out of a prostitute's ass, whatever floats your boat, that's you. But the thing is, like, we've got to worry about things about confidentiality. Worry about our health. The more frequency you have sex, the more you need to get tested. Because it should be important to you. Because sometimes that silence is literally a silent killer. Certain things we be asymptomatic too. So you don't know if you're sitting there setting the community on fire because you're sitting there jumping in and out and you don't feel no symptoms. So again, this is why I don't feel good about tricking. Because not only are you have individuals who are slaves to a nut while laying up with any nut, they will pay them individuals to actually destroy them over time. Destroy their reputation, mess up their money, fuck up their families, destroy their health, corrupt them spiritually, among every level. So, and shout out to Soul in Black, who's definitely helped groom me over the years into things at international and a domestic scale. This is why we have to rely on brothers who have more knowledge than we do. Because we can't go out there, with looking to get our passport stamps blindly. Because anywhere you go, both foreign and domestic, how you carry yourself will either protect you or put you in a line of fire. This means a lot to me because I don't want other brothers to go through a lot of things that a lot of us have gone through. Some of us are not here because of their unwillingness to learn or pay attention to the lessons that we're teaching. So, in closing, being a tender dick Templar serves us no good. It's bad enough you had Oprah Winfrey and a legion of others try to say that we're on the down low or laying up with these Decepticons, or just out here doing some unscrupulous shit, and then have the nerve to come home to whatever chick who believes in us and destroy them. But again, it's important to practice dick discipline, dick dignity, and just overall accountability of what you do and how you carry yourself. Now, you might call it dick policing, and I don't care who you smash. Just understand you're not above reproach nor the consequences that follow. With that being said, I salute to all the new subscribers. If you guys have any topics or even questions or whatnot, put them in the comment section. Let's keep this channel growing. I appreciate you guys coming through and supporting me. And, we're going to change the narrative that Oprah and a lot of these bald-headed hoes and these edgeless oracles have set upon us. We're going to right the ship because we are kinetic men. We move the needle. And women naturally nest in the environment. So if we sit there and change the space, they will follow suit. We do have power. We just have to exercise it and stop being like these tender dick weenies, being online, bitching and complaining about a hooker that sleeps and lives in the Hotel 6, knowing that he's going in raw, which is another thing you guys don't do. A lot of guys don't exercise proper protection. Don't even talk about it because we already know. Some people like to miss ship movements in the pursuit of third world pussy. But that's another tale for another day. So much love to my A-Game family, to you guys out here looking to be full progressive. This is our time. This is where we grow, become men of principles and purpose. And when we fuck the shit out of our purpose, that Venus thigh trap is just a recreational thing along the way. Make everything you do serve you. I'm out.